Hi, I have Mike Greer, Executive Director with Elevation Outdoors. Hi, Mike.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. Looking forward to a fall and startup of some new programs.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about Elevation Outdoors. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so Elevation Outdoors, we feel we're pretty unique here in the Okanagan. We do outdoor recreation programs for youth. And we've got all of our programs are blended. So we have about 70% of the seats in our programs are on full or partial scholarship for youth coming from various backgrounds that would meet our eligibility requirements. And then we have 30% of our programming is paid as a way to create a bit of revenue and be a more sustainable organization. So our programs, we focus on rock climbing, mountain biking, hiking, and snowboarding, as well as we offer a 10-month-long leadership development program for youth as well. And then within all of our programs, we've got sort of a social development curriculum to help the participants not only learn a new skill and a passion, hopefully that builds into a lifelong pursuit of outdoors, but also help them develop skills that they're going to need to succeed in life. And we just trick them into learning through sports, and they don't always realize that we're instilling sort of real life lessons into them.
Absolutely. Sport and getting outside. There's a lot of learning that can be done when you're having fun for sure.
Yeah, in the time of the COVID, it certainly has taken on a whole new precedence as we all, mental health takes even a larger step to the forefront, and the significance of getting outside really increases. So, for a lot of the youth we serve, this might be their only opportunity, their only avenue to get involved with some of the pursuits that we do. So we really count on our volunteer mentors to really help us create that connection with the youth and hopefully help them have a great time while they're out with us.
Awesome. You've sort of answered my next question, but how do volunteers make an impact on your programs?
We rely on volunteers for our program delivery. We have myself and only currently one other person that's paid year-round. And so we really rely on volunteers to come out and support our programs. We do our best to really keep it to only a 2 or 3 to 1 ratio of participants to volunteers, so that our volunteers have the opportunity to really make a connection and try and develop some real relationships with the kids. For many of them, they may not have too many positive older role models to look up to. They certainly may not know anybody else that's involved in the sport that we're introducing them to in the program. So it gives them an opportunity to connect and just, share their wisdom that, our volunteers have accumulated through life with the kids. And just hopefully, at the end of the day, we're looking for people that are passionate about the activities, that, really want to be a positive role model and give back and help others, find a passion in the activities that we do.
Cool. You did mention youth. What is the age range of your participants?
Yeah, so we do ages 12 to 18 for the youth that we deal with. And then in order to access a scholarship seat, they can come in through a number of different avenues. So one is the low income cutoffs that the CRA puts out each year. The second would be if the parent, guardian, or youth themselves is on any type of social assistance or program. So whether that's EI, disability, currently CERB would fall under the parameters of eligibility. Number 3 is if the youth is involved in any way with MCFD. So whether they're in foster care or just have a social worker that is supporting their family, they can come in. The 4th criteria is if they're on parole, probation, or in a restorative justice program. We try and help them, maybe introduce them to a different avenue that they could take in life, and just connect them to some more pro-social activities to help guide them in a different direction. And then we have, if they get a referral from a mental health clinician, so, outdoor recreation and mental health they complement each other well. So if they get a referral from a mental health clinician or a mental health worker that they are involved with, they can access the programs for free. And then just this summer, we've taken the steps to add on any young person that identifies as Indigenous can now access our programs at no cost as well. Just in an effort to continue to add greater diversity into the outdoors. Unfortunately for people of color, Indigenous backgrounds, or even women, there's not as much representation in the outdoors as we would like to see. So we thought that would just be one more avenue to help broaden who can access our programs and really try and continue to break down those barriers.
Great. What type of volunteer opportunities are available currently or going into the fall?
Yeah, so we have a few. As we go into the fall, we've got a couple different programs that start up. The biggest, one of them is our Take a Hike hiking program. So just looking for people who are passionate about hiking and would be interested in coming out and going for a walk and a chat with the participants in that program. The other program we have starting up in September is our Leaders in Action program. So this is a 10-month-long leadership skill development program. So for that one, we're looking for people that are interested in any of the activities that we do, because that program covers all of them at various times over the 10 months. But people who maybe feel they have the ability to commit sort of over a longer term, but also if they feel, oh, I can only come out and support, climbing days. Perfect. So we can be a little more flexible with the commitment around being involved with leadership because it is such a long program. And then come January, February, March, we're looking for people that are passionate about snowboarding and would be interested in committing to whether it be one evening a week or a full day on Sundays a week. We run our snowboard program in 4-week blocks. So we do ask our volunteers to be able to commit to the duration of a program so that relationship development with the kids can actually happen, as opposed to like, oh, I met this really neat person and then they never came back again. So we're a bit different in our volunteer ask in that we look for people that can commit. Best case scenario for us is once a week for the duration of the program. Most of our programs are 4 to 7 weeks. And then with the leadership program, because it's 10 months, obviously we're a lot more flexible on that once a week for the duration of that. Because as the seasons change, so do the activities, and people may not be as comfortable or as able to give the time as the seasons change for them as well. And then, throughout the year, we also look for people that can support, fundraising events, which look a little different now. Hopefully going forward, we can get back to being in the same room with people at some point. There's always that sort of behind the scenes support. If people have a background in social media management, I'd be happy to have a social media manager as a volunteer. Take that off our plate. In the past, we've had a volunteer coordinator. So we'll always, if somebody's interested in that, certainly have that conversation. If somebody brings that skill, they're trying to get some HR experience perhaps in that way as well. So pretty broad array. With most nonprofits, I think, if people have a skill and they would like to loan it to us, we'll have a conversation, certainly.
Great. And just thinking about the activities you do, some of those activities not only require passion, but might require some level of ability. So how do you test ability, or do you look for a certain number of years of experience, say with mountain biking or climbing or snowboarding?
We used to, but we've actually sort of modified our approach to that over the years. Hiking, as long as you can walk and talk, we're excited to have you on board. If you're passionate about hiking, there's people out there that's their thing. Excellent. Come share that with the kids. But when it comes to like the climbing, the biking, and the snowboarding, we don't want people who have never done it before, because we're trying to focus on teaching the participants in the program and not our volunteers. But that being said, over the past few years, we've really learned that having volunteers of various skill levels actually comes in really useful in a few different aspects. On one, they can, I've been snowboarding for 25 plus years. So my ability to relate back to somebody on day one is a little different than, say, someone who learned to snowboard last year and can be like, oh man, like you're close, you're there, I was there last year, you got this. So we've learned having the difference in the skill levels can be good from a relationship standpoint because they can connect in different ways. But also from a volunteer management standpoint, you know, if you're a less experienced person, that's great. We can kind of pair you up with perhaps some of the slower learning group, you know, kids in the group. And so it allows everybody to go at a pace that they're comfortable with, rather than if you're, you know, a newer mountain biker, I won't try and pair you up with, say, you know, one of the kids in the program that picked it up really quick and is now looking to move a little faster. So having that spread amongst the skills is really useful. But we do ask for our volunteers that they are able to provide all of their own equipment that they're going to need in the sport. And then when it comes to snowboarding, we do try and prioritize people who already have a season pass, because otherwise the costs just add up really quickly for us, as far as like if we were to cover, you know, the lift ticket cost for 5 or 6 volunteers a day all season long, all of a sudden, you know, that can really impact the affordability of our program delivery.
Absolutely, for sure. I think you answered the time commitment. What does the training look like? I mean, you're not training them how to do the sport, but do you have some orientation and training that you do
We,
ready for?
yeah, for each of our programs, we try and get as many of our volunteers out for sort of a meeting before the program starts as we can. Within that, we go over just sort of some of the more typical scenarios they may run into. For snowboarding, we do a full day on snow, going through, you know, scenarios. What happens if you lose a kid? You know, just also like some group management stuff, because that's, you know, if you've never worked in a group setting like this before, it's something different. And then we also, through one of our funders, through Canadian Tire's Jumpstart, we've been turned on to, it's the Respect in Sport programs. And so now we're asking all of our volunteers as they come on board to go through, it's an online training platform. And so one is just like focused on being an activity leader. And it's got a bunch of really great information to help people just understand the importance of that role that you're coming into as an activity leader, as a mentor. And it talks a bit about, you know, statistics and just, you know, why kids like sports and why they stay or why they leave. And then we also have another one they can take that's focused on keeping young women in sport. You know, so it's a couple different online training platforms across the two of those. It's about a 4.5 to 6 hour commitment, depending on, you know, how quickly they read and go through the modules online. And then, you know, throughout the year, we're trying to bring in more just guest speakers that anybody who has or is interested in volunteering with us can come to, just to try and round out their skills. You know, not everybody has dealt with youth that are on the autism spectrum or that have ADD, ADHD, any of those combinations, you know, or just working with higher risk youth and just trying to give them some tools as to how to better engage with them. So we do a little bit of sport specific stuff. You know, for mountain biking, again, we go for sort of a ride as a group beforehand, just to go over, again, the group management dynamic and that kind of thing. Yeah, and then it's, you know, just we've got paid staff out with each program that really lead the program, and the volunteers are there to support. So if they have questions throughout the programming, they can, you know, follow up and ask us then as well.
That's great. So I think, oh yeah. So if a volunteer wanted to get involved, what are the steps they need to take to?
Yeah, couple different steps to get in touch with us. Send us an email to info@elevationoutdoors.ca or volunteers@elevationoutdoors.ca. Or they can go onto our website at elevationoutdoors.ca, and under the volunteer tab, there's an online volunteer application that they can fill out. They can always give us a shout, 250-870-9094, and pick any extension. It'll come to one of our team, and they can certainly chat with us there. You know, they can always send me an email at mike@elevationoutdoors.ca, and I can route them through to the appropriate person as well. So, and we do, one of the easiest ways for us is just like have people reach out, express interest, and we'll add them to our volunteer mailing list. And then as programs are coming up, we just send out a message to everybody on that mailing list being like, hey, hiking's coming up, you know, we need people on this day of the week or this day of the week from this time to this time. If this can work for your schedule, send us a message. If it doesn't work for your schedule, thanks for reading our email. You know, so it's pretty low commitment at the start just to get onto the volunteer list. And then as we go through the year, you know, we put our calls out. And then a couple things that we require. The biggest one is a clean criminal record check. We've got to deal with that as we're dealing with vulnerable youth. And then we have the volunteer application that they'll have to complete, just so that, you know, I've got all of their information, emergency contact information, and all of that. So should anything happen, you know, if they crash their snowboard, I know who to phone, just the same as we do with our kids.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to tell an interested volunteer?
I think, and no offense to all the other organizations that they may watch a video of, I think we have one of the funnest, if not the funnest, volunteer opportunities in town, because not only do you get to have a positive impact in people's lives, but you get to do something that you already love as well. And it's pretty powerful. I've had it over the years, I've had a number of volunteers sort of pull me aside at the end of a program and just like, geez, like, I think I got more out of this than the kids did. You know, because you get to be a part of something cool. You get to be sort of that gatekeeper and introduce somebody to hopefully a new lifelong passion. So a lot of fun. We're a pretty casual organization. We get out, we have some fun, we take people out to do fun stuff. So yeah, it's if they're interested and passionate, we'd love to hear from them.
Great. Thank you so much for your time today, Mike.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah.